How was your fitness at this point?
So this is what I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
So I trained a lot. Like if you saw a photo of me before Love Island, I was quite skinny, but like I was in really good shape. I was very lean. Like I looked like a model. Like as in some photos, you'd be like, wow, like I look really good.
Yeah.
Looked good. Mentally wasn't there.
Yeah, of course.
Post Love Island, I'd lost a bit of weight, but like within 2 weeks, I'd lost like 20 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, 20 pounds. Like in
so
like,
your health. Your fitness.
Not 2 weeks, like about 6 weeks.
Everything's not great at that point.
No. Like,
okay.
Clothes are hanging off me.
Ugh.
You know, like just, doing
Unhealthy.
a lot. And it's becoming noticeably, like, I remember like doorman on the clubs. Yeah. Like, I remember just one of the doormen, like, I remember I came out one time, I had coke on my nose, which I never did. I remember I got, like, he's like straighten up. He did something like that, like wiped his nose, and I was just like, fuck. In my head, I was like, fuck, like they have me. But they knew, like, you know, they knew, like, I'm a promoter. I'm doing, like, they know I'm fucking doing drugs. So, but that's just like the fucking.
Because you think about it. Think about the effortlessness that you were talking about before.
Yeah.
You had this idea of effortlessness, and like now it's not. People
not.
are noticing.
Yeah, I'm not in control.
I am not.
Yeah.
The version of Leo at the time when no one was noticing in Wolf of Wall Street.
Going from being the main character to slowly becoming a
little bit of a, I don't want to say villain because that's not the right word. Degenerate. There we go. Degenerate. It's gone from, all right, I can handle this.
Yeah. So
I'm feeling,
I'm an addict.
It's becoming an issue for you.
It's not like I could never go out without it. Like And
you had no at this point. You really had no choice. You couldn't.
No, I couldn't function
amongst in yourself. You like didn't have the choice. Yeah.
I could not function. I remember like November 2019, so that was over 4 or 5 months after the show.
Do you have any idea? Sorry to interrupt you. Do you have any idea of where the switch came, where you felt like the control kind of wasn't there for you anymore?
It just happens. Like
exactly.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say that it's a slippery slope. Some people have a moment, like maybe you did have a moment where you're like, I'm at rock bottom and this is gonna change and blah blah blah. I'm not an everyday drinker. I'm not a, just my story is a little bit different. It wasn't like there was a moment where recently, which is then you were doing Sober October, so that's why I decided to do it, where I was like, I don't want this to happen again. That happened, and it wasn't even a terrible thing. It's just for me. Exactly. It's my point.
Everyone has their different rock bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be rock bottom. You can which is why also I'm trying to talk about this more, because I want people to understand that you don't have to hit rock bottom in order to say, oh, this doesn't work, or I want to change it. I feel like there is not enough middle ground out there talking about alcohol. There's no gray area for people to talk about themselves and to talk about like where they are and what might work for them, or And for me, obviously, it was a different thing. It was more slow. It was more. It always was in a cycle for me. But some people also do have the moment where they're like, oh, I can't do this anymore, kind of thing.
Unfortunate, but I remember I knew where I was going. Like, I knew like the patterns were there.
You're smart. You knew.
I had the awareness. I was like, I'm like 100%, but I just didn't care.
You need the skills. You need the like.
But I didn't care. I didn't care though. I didn't care where I was going. Like I was thinking like when I was 25, like 25, 26, whatever it was off Love Island. I'm not sure. I think it was 26. Like I figured like I wasn't going to be alive in a couple of years. That's what I figured.
Really?
I figured like I won't be alive, so I'm just gonna. I had in my head that.
You really thought that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Wow.
I just thought like I'm gonna kill myself. I had the thoughts there. I was like, I just didn't have the balls to do it. Like I had a few little like rocky nights.
And that didn't scare you. You didn't say, okay, maybe I shouldn't be thinking this way. I should talk to somebody.
I was just like I did like I had some scares where like the guys were like, you need to cut your shit out, but it was just.
Did your family? in this whole 10-year span or whatever?
They didn't know a lot.
No.
The majority of it didn't know. My dad No,
okay.
they didn't because
I mean, if you have physical
my mom
separation.
telling me that one of her friends sent a photo of me to my mother and she said to my mother, he doesn't look good. And that was probably the time after Love Island.
Yeah.
So how would they know? I live in New York.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you have the physical
they were worried
separation.
about me. I did get some questions like, what is this nightlife? What are you doing?
Yeah.
But like, they didn't know.
You can keep
I was very good at hiding it.
Well, I don't want to say I was hiding anything because a similar idea, like where mine wasn't where it was hiding it, but it was like clearly high functioning where like no one would know. Again,
yeah, of course.
Nobody would look at me and ever be like, this person has a problem, or never, not once. And you
Some
know,
people looked at me like that. Not all the time, no.
No, I know,
not
but
all the time.
That's where like everybody's experience is completely different, and you don't have to have a certain experience in order to be like,
no, of course not.
This doesn't work, or I want to change it, or it's not. I don't know. I just want to talk about it or something. Of course, you know.
I remember going into rehab, and like I was thinking like everyone. Like I remember obviously some people were worse off than me, but some people weren't. And I remember I was in rehab with this lady, and I was just like, in my head, I was like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I said to counselor, I was like, why is she here?
Yeah.
You know, and she's like,
by the way, I have gone to AA meetings before.
Have you?
They've not for me personally.
That's fine.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like because that's the only thing I knew back in the day, and that's why I feel like yeah.
You should have told me that.
It wasn't a good or a bad thing. No, I just we haven't had the talk, and now we're talking. Hello, podcast.
I know a guy. He's sober. I don't know how long he's sober, but like doesn't do meetings. I know a good few people that don't do meetings. It's not for everyone.
I've done a lot of soul searching and a lot of reading, like my stack of books here, and AA is not the only way to go.
No, it's not.
He's having his caffeine drugs.
So,
all right. So now we're like, something's not good.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
It's
not good at all. Like the money is like just spitting out of my account. Like I'm spending like, I don't know how much I'm spending a week, but like thousands between like, you know, cigarettes, alcohol, Ubers, drugs. It's all affiliated with one another. The Ubers to get drugs or to go to nightclubs, it's all there. So it's just blowing out of my fucking bank accounts. I'm also spending fucking $2,000 a month on rent. I'm not really making as much money as I should have because I had enough money, so I'm just like, I could just taper back here. But I was just doing going back to a lot of after parties, having after parties at mine. Don't get me wrong, right? Don't get me wrong.
You enjoyed some of it.
Some nights were fun. Like
I'm not gonna say no.
Post Love Island, not as much, but like pre Love Island, leading up to Love Island, the nightlife.
Well, this is the thing.
Good,
There's nothing that we're gonna say here that it's fun.
Yeah, but also I had some of the darkest moments of my life. Like, is in like I lived on an apartment in Altelier building, right by the Sky building, Sky on 42nd. I'm not gonna pretend I know where that. Oh, okay. 42nd and 11th. And it's a sky rise, whatever you call it, 17th floor. Yeah. So I had some of the best times living there, but also I had some of the worst times living there. Like terrible, terrible. Like, I go there now because I go to the gym on 42nd, free membership. What's up? And I remember when I came back there, I just got all these memories started coming back, and I started getting like a little bit of anxiety and that. And that
did you also during this, like your 20s, well, you're still in your 20s and whatever, but like did you have like general anxiety? Did you have like,
I didn't really know what it was though.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like depression. Like I used to always say, I'm depressed. Why am I depressed? Well, I'm depressed because I'm using them and I'm drinking, right? Yeah. But when I took away the drinking alcohol, there were some feelings left, and like I felt like I had one or two, maybe three anxiety. I don't know, quote unquote attacks.
Panic attacks.
I don't know, like what defines an anxiety attack? Like maybe like loss of breath. You know, like I used to get like tight,
lightheaded, or
not really like real tightness in my back, where it's like overwhelming. Like I'm like, what the fuck is someone like sitting on my back here? Yeah. And like shortness of breath. So I think like is that an anxiety attack? I definitely had one in Ireland where it's just like I couldn't breathe, started crying, you know, stuff like that. But like. Yeah, I didn't know what it was though. You know, it would just be like, and it always would be like, you know, you okay, Mac? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, everything was fine with you. You were fine.
I'm fine.
Totally fine. Everything's fine.
Or it'd always be like, if something happened in a relationship, there's something going on with my ex.
That's why I'm stressed.
Or something happened at work last night. It's I saw something.
It's
recently.
Never the actions that you're taking.
It's never that. Never. There's always something. So it was just like a vicious cycle, like what I was doing to my body and my mind and my brain, and it was just like, and can I just sleep as well? Like, isn't whatever? Like, this is something now.
You probably slept for 3 hours over
insane.
10 years.
Like,
I cannot express to you. I need 9 hours of sleep every night.
I need
it's
7.
A lot.
I need 7, 6, 7. So now that I'm a trainer and I'm like, okay, I'm into my health and fitness and mindset and routine, and not that I didn't have any of those, but like sporadically I did, like, you know, whereas now it's, you know, it's full time, like, and I try and walk to walk, but talk to talk as well, which is important. Because there's a lot of bullshit out there as well. But like sleep for me now, like I remember I went home, I moved back from New York to Ireland, and I was just lying in my bed.
You sleep for like 3 months straight. You're like
sleeping, like 8 or 9 hours
Cover your eyes,
more, 10 hours.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't getting sleep. And even when I did, it was during the day because like there was nights where
there's
I
a
could
difference.
not. I was staring at the ceiling. I couldn't
quality sleep is massively huge.
Closing your eyes and it's like...
No.
It is. So anyway, like sleep
and
for me is
of course,
just...
any sort of drugs, even alcohol, oh my God, how that's screwed. Yeah. Even if you get 8 hours of sleep from like, say you go to bed at 2 a.m. because you went out and had like 4 drinks, you're 2 a.m. to 10 a.m., even though it's 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Nothing compared to the quality.
And it's like the sugar and it's like, so a lot of the hangovers get brought on. Yeah, it's the quantity of alcohol, but it's actually the sugar content in the alcohol, and it's the sleep.
It's the sleep, yeah.
It's the sleep that people like, oh, they wake up 4 hours, they're like, I'm fucked. I'm like, go back to sleep.
You always wake up, think about it. I learned this when I was reading a book and I was like, that's me. That makes so much sense. I would wake up at between 4 and 6 a.m. after a night out, if I wasn't up till 4 a.m. and like going to bed then, on the dot every time. And that's because whatever the cycle of the alcohol leaving your body is, you're going to wake up.
Makes sense.
It's crazy how much it physically affects you. And I can't get over now how much it has physically affected me, and then obviously lead to the emotional, mental stuff. But it's like clockwork. I mean, it's science. It's like, it's insane. So anyway, so you are good. You're going to maybe go to rehab. You're thinking about it.
Yeah, like I was doing, like the guys were saying, one of my brother's best friends lives here. He's like, you need to go to AA, go to meetings. And at the time I was like, nah, I can't. Like I was going, but I couldn't get like 5 days sober. I could not get, I think I got
So you were trying?
I was trying. I got like, I think, I don't know, 13 days is in my head, 14 days. Yeah. And then I used.
And what was your catalyst at that point? That was like people telling you, or you
people
also
telling me. And my ex who I got back with was helping me as well. Like good on her. Like I didn't appreciate that shit at the time, but like good for her, you know.
Yeah.
I went back and used. I relapsed, kept relapsing. Relapses like you go off. Whatever,
a couple days and then you just go back out.
Go back out, and I kept lying as well. Like,
oof.
So like, there was times where my roommate would be there during the week and his brother, and I would just be racking or snorting, like, and I was doing it sober as well. Adderall was mainly coke. Like I was so obsessed with cocaine, it was fucking scary. And anyway, I just rang my mom one night. I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. I was like, help me.
Yeah.
And it was bad. And that was coming up on that January, my birthday, so it was in 27.
Was this like kind of new to your mom, or was she?
Yeah, completely out of the woodworks. Like, but I suppose she kind of said, yeah.
What was her reaction?
It did. She just... So my mother's dad was an alcoholic. He was in AA for years.
Okay.
It's on that side of the family as well. But drugs is different, you know, like it's kind of... Now it's kind of the same, but it is like drugs, alcohol, in a way, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like, people put them in two different categories.
It's like, go out for drinks. Don't be doing drugs, though.
It's kind of stupid to say that, but...
And my dad was completely... Like, my dad never touched my dad was... big drinker, but never touched a drug. Or he told me he never smoked before. I think he said he smoked once. Like never. I believe him.
But this is a little new for your mom with the drugs because she.
It is, yeah. So what happened was my brother Liam flew over to the States. Flew over
because he was worried about you.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. So my mother came over and then she went to visit my brother Gav in Toronto. I missed my flight. I didn't go. I didn't answer for the whole day. I think they all thought I killed myself. That's
oh my God, I would have been. Oh my God.
So I woke up like 20 missed calls.
Jesus.
Yeah. I was with my ex. I just stayed up the night before. I was like, I think maybe I relapsed or something like that. I can't remember.
But it's coming to a head now. Your family's coming over. And,
so then she was flying back and then, it was, I didn't know, but my brother Rory had texted me. It was New Year's Eve. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna find a way to do it. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. But I walked into the bar, my brother's bar, and then my brother Liam was there. So that moment there was like, I'm caught. I'm done. Kind of way. I'm done. Like as in.
Wait, so you were approaching the bar to just?
No, I was approaching the bar to meet my brother, but like it was coming. I felt like it was coming towards the end. I don't know what was going to happen. Like as in, my whole plan was to snort so much that I was gonna like fentanyl. Yeah, I was gonna overdose, but I wasn't sure. So I used to always like take like cough medicine or pills, like.
So did you ever have an episode where you were trying to?
No, my tolerance was
so
ridiculous.
High.
Like it was ridiculous. Like
you know what? Thank God.
Oh, thank God! Like
in a weird way.
It's no, 100%. Because I hear all these stories now of these kids, like guys and girls, like overdose on coke, but it's fentanyl.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I always wonder, like, as in, like, because my dad said, he's like, how didn't you not blow holes through your nose?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. My nose was fucked.
Inside.
Like, yeah, it was fucked. I could barely breathe. Like, my nose is a little. What's it called? A stem. It's a little crooked.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
Whatever. But that's definitely from cocaine.
Yeah.
But I have a good nose.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's like perfectly shaped, so I don't know what you're talking about.
So I'm very grateful for that. Like, as in, like, whatever, like, about, like, like how I look physically, but it's not
that's irrelevant at this point.
It is irrelevant. But
so you get to the bar.
I get to the bar. My brother Liam was there, so I knew instantly. I was like, they're sending him over to get me and to bring me home.
Oh, this is the brother that flew over.
Yeah.
Oh,
so within 5 days, I was back in Ireland. Like, he was like, he just said,
is that where you
went
to rehab?
Bags, you're coming home. I went to rehab in Ireland. So, like, looking back at it now, I was actually just thinking of him yesterday. I was like, fuck, like, I love him so much. Like, he's in, like, like, not just him, but he did save my life, like, in a way. Like, he did. Like, he flew me over. He paid my dealer, he paid my last month's rent. Like, I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. I owed people money. And he paid, like, this doesn't really matter, but I owed a lot of money in taxes.
Okay.
A lot of money. Like,
okay.
He paid all that.
Wow.
Yeah, paid all that. Like, so he's just like, but like, me and him, like, he's close to everyone, but like, I lived with him when I was younger. We always had like a bond. All my brothers would have done that anyway. You know?
Yeah.
And just thought, so like, whatever, went back home because there was no way my parents. Rehab here is fucking expensive.
Yeah, and also, like, I think being closer to your
so when I landed in Ireland, I just felt like this big weight lifted off my shoulder.
Yeah.
I was like, I felt safe because
that's a big deal.
I wasn't gonna do anything in Ireland. I wasn't like, I knew if I was.
I think that being probably home and being in that environment is the best case scenario.
100%. Yeah. And I was happy to be going. I was sad to be going because in my head at the time I was like, I'm never coming back to New York, ever, like ever. Never coming back.
At that point, you have no clue.
No clue, of course. Like, as in, I was like,
no idea where this is going.
I felt like, all right, I'm gonna stay alive here. That's what I felt like. I was like, I'm gonna stay alive.
Okay, you're making me cry right now.
No, but that's what it was. Like, as in, like, people. So no, my friends know that.
Yeah.
But some people don't know the extent of it. But it's just like, because it happened so. Like, it's like, because I was here 3.5 years. Like, that's a lot of shit that happened in that. It's
a very condensed timeline.
It's a lot. So it's like, I don't
you
realize
lived a lot.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't realize that at the time, but looking back at it now, whenever I talk about it,
10 years. No, wait, this was only 3
It
years.
is, and it's like, it's crazy, but it's So I went to rehab in Ireland, and it was fucking the hardest time of my life.
Okay, so now we're in rehab.
Yeah.
There's a couple elements, obviously, like detoxing and all of that stuff.
So I kind of detoxed in New York because the guys had brought me to the hospital.
Like the acute detoxing. Of but it's the initial.
So I was on a bender, right? This was like I was on a bender for about 4 days, right? Proper bender, like
proper.
Proper.
It was a proper bender.
Biggest bender I've ever done, right? So the effects of that was so bad that I suppose I was in my room for about 2 days, and the guys came over, and then my brother's friend came over and they said, let's take him to the hospital. But I remember them telling me this. They're like, look, he needs to fucking see a doctor, like, you know, because I'd taken some. But they were like, oh no, you need to be like, I can't remember what they said. You need to be like. You need to be having like a cardiac arrest, or you need to have the shakes, or something needs to be happening.
Right. Everybody thinks you have to be like literally on your deathbed in order to get help.
And I was like, what the fuck is this about? So it was, my brother's friend was like, look, stay with me for a few minutes. I was like, nah. I was like, I'm good, man. It's like, so we started looking into an outpatient program here.
In New York, okay.
In New York. And I went to like 1 or 2 meetings there, but it was very like, I didn't want to do any of that. You know what I mean? I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to.
You weren't
like
help. Voluntarily like, no, I'm here to do this.
I was, but when I started going to AA, I would go to AA, and my ex would come with me sometimes, and she'd wait outside for me, and then I text the boys and like, well, I went to a meeting, and then I'm doing this, and whatever, just to be like,
I did it.
Yeah, just get away from me. Tick the box. I used to say. All
right, leave me alone now.
Leave me alone. Don't call me.
Yep.
Because I'm more than likely gonna be doing drugs.
Do some stuff.
Or,
Yeah.
And you know, I did try. I was with my ex-girlfriend a lot, and she stayed on top of me and that.
Yeah.
But if you can't help yourself, it's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So anyway, lo and behold, I end up going. But you know what? I hear about people getting sober in the rooms, and but I had nothing was saving me at that stage. Like there was no way. I had to leave New York. I had to go back. But it's a blessing in disguise. Because like in the space, I went back for 2 years. The pandemic had happened. As soon as I came out of rehab, I remember watching on TV, and there was like COVID. I was like, "What the fuck's that mean?"
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard of that word before. Like, what is that? And I came back and everything. So it was like a little scary because I was like, "Fuck, how am I going to stay sober here?" It's kind of good in a way because everything's going to close, but mentally I was like...
But then you were doing it alone, so you're like,
Of course. But it was hard.
So you're in rehab.
We're in rehab.
We're in rehab.
Doing the goddamn thing.
Doing the damn thing.
Doing the thing.
Obviously hard.
Very hard, yeah. A lot.
Going through a lot of probably self-discovery.
Like figuring out why I was doing all that. My childhood, everything. Everything you think of. You got to talk about it, like, you know, because it's just like, why were you taking this,
right?
You know, and it took me a while, and honestly, I think I'm only figuring it out the last 6 months since I moved back to like.
Interesting.
Yeah. I thought like because I used to.
So rehab was in 2020.
The started 2020, so 2020. Almost 3 years. There'll be 3 years in February.
Okay, and you went for like a month, 30 days kind of thing.
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
I think it was good. Like probably could have been longer.
Okay.
But. Fuck, it's a long time.
But you were home. You stayed in Ireland after
back with my parents. Yeah,
getting with your parents and your sister. So that's probably good support back there.
Really good. And my best friend, two of my best friends were living there back home as well. So they used to come visit me on weekends, which is nice. And one of my old school friends used to come visit me. So it was nice.
Yeah. So how did you feel coming out of it? And go like, did you start work? Did you nothing?
Everything was closed. Pandemic. So it was good because I had a lot of time in my hands, but it was also bad because I had a lot of time in my hands.
You know that my trigger is boredom.
Yeah.
Like for drinking for me, like going out and like is boredom. So anyway, so then you're like, all right. Did you have any slip ups? Did you? You did.
So I relapsed after 5.5 months.
Okay.
And bad.
Okay.
I was I won't tell you details, but I ended up in the hospital.
Okay.
And just all the old feelings, but I wasn't doing the work that I should have been doing from a mental state. You know.
Fair.
I was doing a lot of physical activity.
Yep.
But. Yeah, you're going to look great on the outside, but how do you feel on the inside? You know what I mean? So that's why it's important. And the older I'm getting now, and it's like, you know, gym work is great, but it's also temporary fix, right? Mm-hmm. So it's that temporary fix that people chase, which is, and I'm not like, I feel like I'm different to a lot of people. So maybe I'm just talking to a certain audience here, right? But it's like, you know, journaling, meditation, sleeping. Right, I need all that. I need all that because if I hold and don't let out or talk about what's going on in my head, then it's just going to build up.
Now, when you approach being sober, so you've been sober, you've been on your sober journey.
I've been on my sober journey the last 3 years. I've relapsed 3 times.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, whatever. It's your journey.
Yeah.
And I think that people need to understand that relapse is actually part of the journey. Some people, yeah. But for me, not an everyday drinker, very much a more binge drinker.
Yeah.
Like going out with my friends on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
However, look, my body doesn't handle it the same as it used to or the same as other people. I've kind of figured out, like I told you, boredom is a huge part. I don't know if my brain is just like looking for stimulation or what it is. I have a very creative, weird mind and can get bored very easily. And there's like a lot of reasons for why I would do that. And it'd be a cycle. Didn't drink all the time. I'd go months. I didn't drink at all during COVID, like maybe 3 times in 2 years. Like,
that's impressive.
But it's not because I was holding myself back. It's just for me, the drinking correlated to certain scenarios that I didn't like. Yeah. And so for me, come October, when I saw you were doing Sober October, I had this one instance where I was just too hungover to go to this thing with my friends. And I was just like, this is so stupid to be so hungover that I can't go to this thing. I haven't seen my friends since before COVID, a bunch of them. And I felt absolutely miserable about it. And I said to myself, all right, this is the stuff that's not happening anymore. And so then you came in and I was like, oh, he's doing Sober October. I'd already thought to myself, okay, I'm going to do this just to like, because my approach to it is transformation. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to deprive myself for the next rest of my life. So that's what I got thinking about you. Like you got out of rehab. Yeah. How were you feeling about being sober or like approaching life from a sober perspective? Yeah. Was it something you were still feeling, I just feel deprived and I have to have willpower to do this?
Yeah, a little bit. But I felt like, and I heard this off other people, it's like, you'll know when you're ready, right? So when I came back out of rehab, I was just like, never drinking again, ever. And they should say, you should never say never, right, with anything. Like,
absolutely.
Because it's like, it kind of sends that signal to the brain of, I can't do this.
Right.
So I remember I used to tell like my parents, I'm never going to do this again. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And then after a while, cravings started kicking in again, you know, and then it was just like, it was a fuck it moment. I was like, fuck this, fuck everything else. I'll do whatever the fuck I want.
I love a good fuck it moment.
Yeah. They can be good or bad.
I know.
But it was one of those moments. But I remember just telling my mom, so I relapsed and then I said, look, leave me alone. I'm going back out drinking. It was coming up towards summertime.
You like prepared.
I was like, I didn't, but I was like, at that time I was like, well, fuck it. I've done it. And I was just like, because my relapse was really bad. What happened was really bad. But I just told my parents, look, you're either gonna fucking like, if you're gonna restrict here, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're gonna go against me here, it's gonna make it worse. So I just said, just leave me the fuck alone. I'm gonna drink, and I did for probably five months. I was in a relationship with a girl, and I went to Italy, and I was drinking, and I went to honest with my parents. When I got home, I told them fucking everything. Yeah. Like especially my dad, because obviously like I talked to my dad about women and everything like that. Whereas my mom, not that I wouldn't talk to my mother about that.
Yeah, it's your dad.
But it was my dad. So like I had some, like, when he passed, I was posting stuff in my stories and stuff, and like people are like, wow, like you have, you know, not that my family, like, even when my mom gets here now in a few hours, if I have my phone out, she'd be like, put away the phone, you know, kind of way. But like I got a lot of videos and photos with my dad in those last 2 years, and I'm like, fuck, if I never went home, I wouldn't have had any of that.
Right.
You know, so
it definitely was a blessing in disguise.
It was such a blessing. I'm very grateful.
Well,
for
this is
it,
why we don't know where life's going to take us, and we have to just give into that.
But it was it was like so everything that happened, I used to hate it, but I'm just like, I own it now. Yeah. You know, I really own it. So going back to the relapse, like, because I told my dad, I said, I'm not ready. I have more fucking drinking and using in me. I feel like I'm not fucking ready to give it up yet. And then I went off it then again, but no way. And I went off it for about 14 months.
Okay.
And it was good. I went to the UK. It was good, but I again, something wasn't. Like, I remember I hit my year sobriety. I've only hit a year once, and I remember the guys in the UK brought me out for dinner, and like, great people, like, but I just felt something wasn't right. There was nights out where I went out sometimes, and I was just like, didn't feel comfortable. I felt like I was boring. I felt like I was like, Jesus, I felt like I'm not myself here, like, you know. And I was around, like, you know, guys who were like, you know, they look good, they were like funny guys, and, you know, they're just confident. Whereas I felt like, I'm like, why aren't I like that anymore? Do you know kind of way?
High five.
Yeah.
Wait, like, that was the worst high five.
Shocking. I have big hands as well.
Wait,
that wasn't good.
Look at my elbow. Yeah. Now I'm scared. Look at my elbow.
Yeah. Why do I look at your elbow?
Because if you look at the elbow, you never miss.
One more.
See?
Okay.
Did you look at my elbow?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And you never miss if you look at the elbow.
I
was just going to say, holy crap. That is one of the two things for me also were reaching my full potential as a human in many ways, fitness-wise, business-wise, all these different things. Terrified of not reaching my full potential, and that was very apparent to me this year. So that was another reason why alcohol for me had to go. Yeah. For the most part, I had to figure that out because it was so many reasons why it was not allowing me to reach my full potential. Yeah. I'm not there yet, obviously. But also the idea that you were saying about, like, me not feeling like myself. I grew up not drinking. I've never had a problem being social. I'd never had a problem, like, being witty and banter and all those things. And then I think over time, alcohol took that from me. And it was the things that you think it's going to give to you, the self-confidence, the, like, being funny or whatever it is, actually did the opposite to me. it took it from me.
I think it might help for a while.
Right. But too much or too long. Yeah. And I realized, who am I? Yeah. Like, what is going on here? I don't feel confident. I don't feel comfortable. These are things I've never felt in my 30 plus years of my life. Yeah. And that was really, for me, another wake up call where I was like, this is harming me more than it's just good. So I totally, completely understand that. Yeah,
but even going back to what you were saying as well, and that's a really good point, is because when you go sober, like, and you did Sober October, but you were talking about like doing the work, you were reading more books. When I went sober that time, like, I wasn't doing enough work, as in like working on me.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's so important, but I was always afraid to do that as well, because obviously,
because then it's going to open a can of worms. Open a can of worms. So I've always been putting, and like I have to do some sort of inventory. I don't do it every day, right? I can't just be lying here. But I have to. I suck at this.
No, but I just I have to do some sort of. I have to work out. I have to meditate. I have to talk to other guys.
You learn the things that when you're living life soberly, and I don't mean the word sober is tough too. Sometimes I feel like, because I don't know. I just find the word alcoholic and sober are very tough words that have a lot of connotations around them. Yeah. And when you kind of get into the space of not drinking and you're approaching life without the crutch of anything, that's where like the real transformation happens. And that's where like eventually I hope to not, I mean, I still go back and forth with a lot in my brain about it. Yeah. But the idea for me approaching that time in Sober October was like, not only gonna not have it and not ingest it and not use it during these times where I found it to be detrimental at the end of the day. There's a real work inside that has to be done to understand why, but to propel you forward, and to propel you into a point where you're not using it, not because you're told it's bad for you, but because you don't want it. The freedom you get, like the freedom that I have gotten by sleeping, by not ever being hungover, by like the clarity in my brain, the things I'm like, I look back and sometimes I have a hard time with it because I don't want to regret things in my life. But I look back at those years of like the drinking years, I guess I'll call it, of my life. And I say to myself, wow, I was productive, but I was nowhere near as productive as I could have been. And so that's a little bit hard for me, and I'm kind of assessing that and figuring that out for myself. Yeah, but you can't change that, right? No, you can't. Absolutely not. And obviously I've learned a lot through those years, and we haven't even touched upon, I have OCD also. Yeah. Okay. So we haven't even touched upon the mental health stuff that came in while I was dealing with that. I feel like I've lived 50 lives by now at this point. I've been in therapy since... Good. I was just going to ask you. Oh, forever. Good. I started therapy actually in college because I tore my ACL twice. Oh, shit. I played lacrosse in college. And at first the anxiety... It's the best sport in the world. I know certain people who will fight me on this. It's up there. It's like really awesome. I think if I went to school here, like if I grew up, you would play. It'd be so fun. I think I would have been a lacrosse player. I know that's like, that's just throwing it out there completely because. No. It is. I would hands down. I don't care if anyone wants to fight me on it. To me, it's the best sport. I think I'd be a lacrosse player. Probably captain as well and go down. Oh yeah, you'd be captain. You get all the girls. Blah blah blah. Whatever. But no, so this is where it started for me. Like therapy started in college because I thought I needed a sports psychologist, and turns out there was a lot of things wrong, and that's where it started, the anxiety, depression, and then that was when I started drinking too. And so, when you got injured? No, I was drinking before because that's not true. I injured the first time senior year of high school, was not drinking. Started drinking in college when I was rehabbing my knee. Yeah. And it was probably like such a bad snowball effect of the already issues, mental and emotional, from the injury. And then I re-injured the same knee. Ugh. It's a long story. But that's like sports psychologists. That's what they thought I needed, turned into real psychologists. That's what I've never. I struggled with that for a long time. Why me? Like my. Yeah, of course. I can imagine. It ruined my identity. I was an athlete, whole 9 yards, whatever. No, and it's crazy. Therapy. I did a therapy session a couple of weeks ago. Are you in therapy? Have you done therapies? I'm so curious. So I did.
So CBS Love Island paid for my rehab.
That's great, though.
It is great.
Shout out to that.
No, not really. But help.
No, okay, no shout
friend.
out.
No, you can shout out. No, definitely. But with the help of my friend Scott.
Yes.
Right, and they also gave me like 6 therapy sessions. I only went to one of them, and I was high. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe two actually. Sorry. Anyway, I did this therapy session with this girl. One of my friends' sisters, who's in college, and we talked about my dad, and that was very tough. But I was just like, I said to my mom, I was like, we should all be doing therapy.
Oh, are you kidding me? Everyone everywhere, when you're born, just start therapy, because you have a third party person who's super objective, doesn't know anything, and can just give you real facts and help.
It's the same as working out. Right, you go to the gym.
You work your brain.
You're working your brain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You're sorting things out.
Totally.
And it's
all right. So here we are. You moved back to New York.
Yeah, so
you're here living a sober life.
Let me give you a little bit of context, right? So my dad was basically about a week before my dad passed, right? He was kind of like, we were all going in, checking up on him, obviously. I was very hands-on when my dad passed.
Was he ill?
My dad had cancer for 7 years, prostate cancer.
Sorry
and
to
then
hear
it spread, he did chemo.
Yeah, that's tough.
Then, very tough. So it was very strange. Like, it doesn't seem real sometimes, right? It doesn't seem real. So, but I was very hands-on with him. He was in bed a lot, and we used to bring him into the living room, and so he was like, oh, Cormac's the only one who could do it properly, because he was in a lot of pain. So I love that, right? I love that. And so we'd all go into a room one-on-one, talk to him, and just, whatever, everyone had their time with him. And it was nice, like, isn't it? Like, when my dad was sick, it was very hard, but also it brought out a softer side to my dad. When my dad was very, like, man's man, like, and
I wonder where you got that from.
No, I know. No, I'm like, I can be, like, I have a sensitive side to me as well. But my dad's very, like, Irish, I'm the man of the house. I drink the pints, I play the music,
Yeah.
Like, very, like, he was in the room when he was there. But brought out a softer side to him, like, and wasn't really affectionate, but it was more so towards the end of his life. So anyway, we were talking, and he was like, I really didn't know what I was doing with myself. Like, I knew I wanted to do fitness, but I lived in Manchester and I loved it there, but I didn't really want to go back there. And he was like, why don't you go back to New York? And I was like, I don't know. He was like, just do it, you could do your fitness, you go back to modeling. And I was like, oh, maybe. And then I don't know what it was. I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I was just like, as soon as he said it, and then he passed, and then I booked my flights.
Wow.
Like a week later.
Wow.
I was just like, fuck it.
Dad knows best.
He knows best. And honestly, I think yes, I came back to the
epicenter of
like face my fears in a way. But honestly, I
you were different though when you came back.
Yeah, different, 100%. But I think I came back because I need to be sober in my life. Like, I have to be sober. And even though New York is
crazy,
it's crazy. For me, this is where I can stay sober.
That's great though.
Yeah, no, it is good. It is.
I think
people might be so shocked at that, but I'm just like.
But you talk about your personality a little bit besides whatever drinking and stuff. Yeah. It sounds like a fit in the sense that you're driven, you've got these things you want to do. Like, New York is a doer. Like, you gotta be
you get left behind really fast here.
Yeah, if you're not doing things, it depends on what your goals are.
That's true.
But if you want to be somewhere where you're surrounded by that stuff, like, this is the place to be, obviously. So then welcome. No, I'm just kidding. So you've been here now sober for how many years? A year?
So this is going back. So what happened was I relapsed a week after my dad passed.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which was very tough. And then I came back to New York telling people I was sober, but I wasn't sober. So I was going on dates for months with girls, and my friends thinking I was sober and I wasn't sober. I went back out there, like, I had some terrible months this year, but I know a lot of it was grieving with my father. And then I got back. I'll be 6 months sober in January, but I feel like the best I've ever felt now.
Okay, why is that?
I just feel like I'm doing the right things.
So what's on your list now? So now we're here in the present.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like what I mean by like I'm doing the right things. Like I'm doing AA. Right?
Okay.
AA is a big part of my life, and it always has been. But I feel like I never surrendered to.
Really, just having it part of your daily routine.
I get a meeting almost every morning. But again, I told it at the start of this, I'm not here to promote AA.
No, for sure. This is part of your.
Yeah.
Your
I just
life.
talk about me alone.
Yeah.
because it's important, because like it's like, you know, that's just a part of it.
AA is
like,
not for me. I can straight up say that.
Yeah, and that's fine. And that's actually quite this is quite good, because like you don't do AA, I do.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's a different dynamic, because also the way that alcohol has showed up in my life is very different.
It's true,
than how it's showed up in your life.
So I'm not like, but anyway, I need that. But it's like having people to talk to on a daily basis, and having,
you have a sponsor.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I never had one before.
Okay.
I never had one. So like I got over
I'm sure
a year,
that's helpful, just in the back of your mind. You're like, there's this person.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability.
I mean, I think that's good no matter AA or not.
Of course.
You know.
Of course. It's
and now you've got your fitness, so that's a big deal for you.
Yeah, so it's like, so it's one of my goals is like, I'll become a trainer, but you know, start my own online fitness coaching, and you know, become a personal trainer in New York City. And I've done all that, and you know, I've gotten sober, I'm staying sober. So it's like a lot of the times it's, what I find in New York is hard to reflect sometimes, isn't it? Or not hard to reflect, but you don't do it often enough.
No, you don't take the time.
You don't take the time. It's like someone told me one time, look up in the city.
Look up at the buildings. They're actually really pretty.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I felt like everyone just go. You're passing, you're crossing the street,
you're
head
walking,
down and go.
Yeah.
But if you never
look up.
Just look up at the stars. I know it sounds corny enough, but do.
Yeah.
Look up at
the God. Karaoke time.
This is my point. So I'm going to go to the airport.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there on time to collect my mother. One time my mother came here and she got the bus from the airport to the Port Authority, and I was 3 hours late. So that's who I was, and this is who I am now, right?
Right, so this is where we are.
But it's being in the presence, and like I'm going to be able to be there for my mom when she gets here, and like have a good time for Christmas. Christmas, like I love Christmas, but I had like some of the darkest moments at Christmas time. Like a lot of my using was around Christmas. This is my first Christmas back in New York, and like, you know, it's nice. Like I'm here, I'm doing the thing. I'm going to be able to look after my mom, you know, take her out, we'll go see a show. We'll spend Christmas in Jersey this year with her sister and my cousins and her brother, you know, so it's nice. So it's simple things, right? I think a lot of us,
I think that was a big one for me too. The simple things, the things that used to bring me joy. Didn't bring me joy, and I was like, why are these not bringing me joy? Like, and I realized it.
Sleeping, a shower, a cold glass of water in the summertime in New York, you know, stuff like
absolutely,
stuff like that. You know,
absolutely, because you're in survival mode when you're going through whatever you're going through at the time with alcohol or whatever it is. So now we're here, we're in the present. You're gonna go pick up your mom. You're living a sober-ish life. Sober life. Okay, sober life. And how do you feel that, like, when you approach every day, like, do you feel a freedom from it? Do you feel like you're still depriving yourself of something?
No, definitely not depriving. Like, because you have to put in the work for you, right? In order to grow.
You feel a bit transformed.
You take away the drink and drugs, and you're left with yourself, right?
And so much good.
So much good, but also it's not fucking easy. It's not easy. So it's like, it's easy for me to go, oh, well, I'll go drink and drug, but I don't want to do it anymore. Like, for me, it's like, I want to go into bed at a time, I'll watch some TV, I'll read a book, I'll get up in the morning, I have clients, like I have responsibilities now, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, not that I didn't have responsibilities, but I have more responsibilities. I work for myself, so whatever money I make, it's from me, it's no one else.
I just think it gives you a freedom to live the life you want.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
It gives you the freedom to be present to do those things that you just could never be before.
But ultimately, is like, you want to be the best version of yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And like, whatever that is, because everyone's version of themselves is whatever they want to make of it, right? So for me, I just want to be kind, I want to be in the present. Yeah, I want to be successful, like I do want to be successful, but like, you know what, like, I'm not going like, I don't want to be fucking remembered. Like, some people actually like thrive in life to be successful and remembered. I don't really give a fuck if no one remembers me, but I just want to be a nice person, because I like,
want to affect people in a good way.
100%. And it's like, you know, I really want to look after my mother, like, even more now that my dad has passed. Like, you know, so that's motivation for me as well. Because I talk about motivation this one. Motivation has its cue to come in sometimes. It's just, you can't rely on motivation the whole time, right?
Absolutely not.
But you use it for certain things, right? So family is a big one. As long as like I keep it in the day as much as possible, because there's a good quote, is like, learn from the past, look to the future, but live in the present.
I love that.
Right? It's a great one. So it's like, learn from the past, look into the future
simultaneously.
but live in the present, because if you're not living in the present, you're constantly regretting what you did in the past, or you're constantly wanting to be somewhere else, or wanting or looking too far in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and that fucks with your head. That fucks with my head for years.
Yep.
So it's like, you know, how can I do that? How can I live in the present? So, well, you know what? For me, I don't drink a day at a time. I don't drink or use a day at a time. I stay in touch with my family. I show up to work. I give it 100%. Like, can I do better? Absolutely. Like this year, me and my mom were reflecting. She said, you know, it's been a really good year. And I said, you know what? It has been a really good year. Like, but it's been a very challenging year. Like over the year, you know, I lost my dad. I relapsed. My brother got married. He had a son. You know, it's a lot of ups and downs.
A lot of change,
A lot of change. But you know what? Life is change. Like, you know, it's
constant change.
It's constant change. So it's like this year was about like, you know, just learning. And I think I've done okay. Like, you know,
I think you've done pretty good.
I've done all right.
Just all right.
But it's like when people think of me in New York, it's promoter. Whereas I'm a trainer now. So
it's so funny because that's not at all what I know of you.
I know, but it's like,
so it's so weird.
I still get messages on Instagram like, oh, are you going
to be at the thing today?
I don't even reply to them.
All right, so first of all, thank you so much for doing this for me.
That was really good.
I had always wanted to talk about this.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much more to talk about.
Loads more.
We couldn't even get it all in right now, but your story is inspiring to hear it. I think that your whole fitness thing, everything that you're doing right now, just feels so authentic, and that's
I appreciate that.
Huge.
No, it's good.
Huge.
It's and it's good to hear that as well, because obviously, like, going back to like, you know, insecurities. Like, so I still doubt myself. Like,
we all do.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm doing on this podcast.
It's crazy.
I'm just like having a good time talking to you, and I'm like, I hope this works out.
Of course.
You know,
there's just some days I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And then, but that's why you have to catch yourself that, and it's like, so it's constant work, it's constant progression. It's like not constant progression. It's not constant progression at all.
Sometimes we go back, and then we go a little forward, and then we go back again.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's good.
Anyways,
it is what it is.
You go pick up mom.
I will pick up mom.
Tell her I said hi. I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
And we'll pick this up, and thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Peace.
We'll get you on.
We don't know what we're doing. Well,